So in this section, or the paragraph we read last time, Sri Aurobindo was speaking about the creative force who manifests as the goddess of life. She involves herself in every fate. And whatever the difficulties, she perseveres. So I'm starting on page 181 at line 294. These are her deeds in this huge world ignorance, till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead. In light or dark, she keeps her tireless search. Time is her road of endless pilgrimage. One mighty passion motives all her works. Her eternal lover is her action's cause. For him she leaped forth from the unseen vasts to move here in a stark, unconscious world. Its acts are her commerce with her hidden guest. His moods she takes for her heart's passionate molds. In beauty she treasures the sunlight of his smile. Ashamed of her rich cosmic poverty, she cajoles with her small gifts his mightiness, holds with her scenes his looks' fidelity, and woos his large-eyed wandering thoughts to dwell in figures of her million impulsed force, only to attract her veiled companion and keep him close to her breast in her world cloak, lest from her arms he turns to his formless peace, is her heart's business and her clinging care. Yet, when he is most near, she feels him far. For contradiction is her nature's law. Although she is ever in him and he in her, as if unaware of the eternal tie, her will is to shut God into her works and keep him as her cherished prisoner, that never they may part again in time. A sumptuous chamber of the spirit's sleep at first she made, a deep interior room where he slumbers as if a forgotten guest. But now she turns to break the oblivious spell, awakes the sleeper on the sculptured couch. She finds again the presence in the form, and in the light that wakes with him recovers a meaning in the hurry and trudge of time. And through this mind, that once obscured the soul passes a glint of unseen deity. Across a luminous dream of spirit space, she builds creation like a rainbow bridge between the original silence and the void. A net is made of the mobile universe. She weaves a snare for the conscious infinite. A knowledge is with her that conceals its steps and seems a mute, omnipotent ignorance. A might is with her that makes wonders true. The incredible is her stuff of common fact. Her purposes, her workings, riddles prove. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. Even in our world, a mystery has reigned. Earth's cunning screen of trivial plainness hides. Her larger levels are of sorceries made. There the enigma shows its splendid prison. There is no deep disguise of commonness. Occult, profound, comes all experience. Marvel is ever new, miracle divine. There is a screened burden, a mysterious touch. There is a secrecy of hidden sense. Although no earthen mask weighs on her face, into herself she flees from her own sight. All forms are tokens of some veiled idea whose covert purpose lurks from mind's pursuit, yet is a womb of sovereign consequence. There, every thought and feeling is an act, and every act a symbol and a sign, and every symbol hides a living power. A universe she builds from truths and myths. But what she needed most, she cannot build. All shown is a figure or copy of the truth, but the real veils from her its mystic face. All else she finds, there lacks eternity. All is sought out, but missed the infinite. So if we go back to page 181, line 294. We are in the kingdoms and godheads of the greater life. And we see, as Sri Aurobindo describes things there, that they are very different from in the kingdoms of the little life which we read about earlier. You'll read first, Bhuvana.
These are her deeds in this huge old ignorance, till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead. In light or dawn, she keeps her tireless search. Time is her road of endless pilgrimage. One mighty passion motives all her thoughts. Her eternal lover is her action's cause. For him, she leaped forth from the unseen vasts to move here in a stark, unconscious world.
Thank you. So this is one of the passages where Sri Aurobindo is imaging for us, helping us to grasp the relationship which is sometimes spoken of as the relationship between Purusha and Prakriti. Other times it's the Lord and his Shakti. Sometimes it's Ishvara and Ishvari. But let's try and follow what is being said here. What we read last time, those are her deeds, the way that was described in the previous passage. These are her deeds in this huge world ignorance. And she goes on working like this in her creative force till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead, whether in light or in dark. She goes on seeking ways to express the divine in forms. So the whole of time, in this universe of time and space and separation, time is her road of endless pilgrimage. She goes on with her tireless search. And there's one mighty passion which is driving all her works. It's the motives for everything that she does. She wants to please the Lord. Her eternal lover is her action's cause. For him she leaped forth from the unseen vasts, because he called her out and gave her her mission. She was there in the silence of eternity and infinity. She comes to move here in a stark, unconscious world. Whatever happens in this world is a sign or a signal of her exchange, her commerce, her communication with her hidden guest. Depending on his moods, she does her actions. She takes his moods for her heart's passionate molds to shape her feelings and intentions. In beauty, she treasures the sunlight of his smile. Would you like to read?
Ashamed of her costly poverty, she peddles with her small hips his mightiness. holds with her scenes his looks identity, and moves his large-eyed, languid thoughts to her. In figures of her withered and burst force, only to attract her weird companion, and to keep him close to her breast in her word God. Least from her arms, in return of his formless peace. In her heart's business and her clinging care.
Yes, let's pause there. She wants to please and impress and delight the Lord. That's what she wants to do. But all this rich universe which she's created, it seems to be only a cosmic poverty. She's ashamed of it. It's not good enough for him. She cajoles, attracting him as we might attract a wild animal. We want to get him to eat from our hand. You know? She cajoles with her small gifts, whatever small gifts she can give. She cajoles his mightiness. She wants his approval. She wants to keep his attention fixed on her scenes. She holds with her scenes his looks' fidelity. She wants the Lord to keep his attention fixed on what she is doing. She's wooing his large-eyed wandering thoughts. They may be wandering anywhere, but she wants them to be fixed on the figures of her million impulsed force, all the things that she's creating. Her wish is always to attract her veiled companion. She wants his attention, to keep him close to her breast in her world cloak, wrapped up in all these things that she's created as part of this world. She doesn't want him to turn away from her arms to his formless peace. He could do that. He could turn away to the formless peace of the infinite and the eternal. But she wants to keep him attracted to all that she's doing here in the universe. That's her heart's business and her clinging care. She's always focused on him and what can keep him focused on her. Kamala.
Yet, when he is most near, she feels him far, for contradiction in her native love. Although she is ever in him, and he in her, as if unaware of the eternal time, her will is to shut God into a verse, and keep him as earth carries prison, that never they may part again in time.
So she's like a jealous lover, no? The trouble is that although she is always in him and he is always in her, they are the two in one, they cannot be separated. But she behaves as if she's unaware of this eternal connection between them. She wants to shut God into her works, into all the creations that she's making. She wants to keep him like her cherished prisoner. She loves him so much. She doesn't want to let him go. She doesn't want his attention even to be anywhere else. She wants that never they may part again in time. So what does she do? Philomena, read.
Sometimes chamber of the spirit's sleep. At first she made a deep interior hymn, where he slumbers as if a forgotten guest. But now she turns to build the oblivious spirit, awakes the sleeper on the scuppered couch. She finds again the presence in the form, and in the light that wakes with him recovers a meaning in the hurry and touch of time, and through his mind that once obscured the soul, passes a blind of unseen reality.
Yes. So, first of all, she prepares a wonderful bedroom for him, a sumptuous chamber of the spirit's sleep, where she can keep him deep within, sleeping. That's the first thing she does. And then he slumbers there, and she just leaves him slumbering, as if he's a forgotten guest. But after some time, she does turn to break that spell of forgetfulness. She wakens up the sleeper, the Lord, where he's sleeping on his sculptured couch, his couch that's made of matter. Then she rediscovers that divine presence which is there in the forms. And when he wakes up, then consciousness wakes up in her also and in the world. So in the light that wakes up with him, she finds again a meaning in the hurry and trudge of time. And through this mind that has evolved in the world of matter, which once obscured the soul, cast a shadow, covered up the soul. No? When he wakes up, this glint, this shining light of divinity appears for a moment.
Just like the
Yes. So, go ahead, Dana.
So this seems like a South Indian temple, the deity, It lies on the sculptured couch. And so Mother wakes him up.
You wanted to ask something, Angalakshmi?
Yes. This chapter is expression of what Mother described in Ajanda when she met some god sleeping. Maybe this text, I don't know, description of Shalom. But Mother tells always when she reads Savitri, you have experienced the same time.
Yes. So the mother describes an experience, and it is pictured in Savitri, when I think it happened to her in her life, if we look at the chronology of her life, while she was studying with Théon and Madame Théon in Algeria. Yeah. She was exploring many things with the help of Madame Théon. And one of the things she was exploring was to go deep, 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 deep down into the inconscient. And she describes it in a very colorful way, as if going under the sea. And when we go down into the sea, there are all kinds of beautiful colored fishes and corals and things that are there. She was seeing all these marvels and going deeper and deeper, and the deeper she went, the darker it got. And when she reached the very bottom, she became aware that there was some ray of light coming from somewhere. So she moved towards that light and she saw that it's shining out of a cave. And when she moved up towards the cave, she saw that there was a wonderful being sleeping there. Of course, we may think of these pictures of the sleeping Buddha or Lord Vishnu sleeping on Ananta, no? And the light was emanating from that being. That is how she has described the vision in the magazine that they used to publish from Théon's group, 𝒂𝒔𝒕𝒔, I think it was, yes. But later on, when she told this story again to the children in the playground, and probably to 𝒖𝒍𝒅 in the agenda, she said as she stood there and saw that being, he opened his eyes. And she says that for her the significance of this being that she saw there, that is the first avatar. That is, the divine descended into the very, very depths of matter, and they're radiating this rainbow light, which is gradually waking everything up so that we evolve further and further towards our true divinity. So in the Savitri paintings, it comes, there's a line where Sri Aurobindo writes, the darkness failed and slipped as from the reclining body of a god. Yeah. And there she shows the body being revealed as the darkness falls away. So she told something to Huta at that time about how she had seen this being lying there. And one of our readers, he read about that in invocation, and then he said it's a line from the Vedas, that there is the description that the dawn is like a beautiful being removing the cloak of darkness from the body. So all these things are connected, all these beautiful images can help us to understand things in a deeper way.
You remember which chapter Shraddhavan described in the darkness?
Yeah, it's right at the very beginning of the poem. It's on page 3 at the bottom. There's, but where it comes in entretien and where it comes in agenda, I can't tell you just like that. I'd have to.
The beginning of agenda, maybe 1960, so 61.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then, if we go on from page 182, line 332, well, line 331 is where we read about the glint of unseen deity. But in the next line, he describes her creative action. You'll read, Sarojini?
Across a luminous stream of spirit space, she built vision like a rainbow bridge between the original silence and the void. A net is made of the mobile universe. She waves a snow for the conscious infinity.
Infinite, yeah. So we'll pause there because there's a full stop. So it's the light of consciousness waking up as the Lord wakes up in matter. And that gives a meaning to the hurry and trudge of time. And it lights up even the mind, the consciousness of the earth, that mind that once obscured, shadowed, and hid the soul, through this mind passes a glint, a shining light, just for a moment, of unseen deity, of invisible divinity. That's perhaps a sign of what she is doing. She's building creation, and creation is like a kind of bridge, a rainbow bridge between the original silence, before there was anything, before the word of creation was expressed. She's building a bridge between that moment, the original silence, and the emptiness of space.
Can you explain that?
The
silence and the void.
And the void. The void is, you could almost say, the asat, the non-existent, the emptiness. So there's an original silence before the word of creation is spoken, and there's an emptiness that needs to be filled. And she's making a bridge.
Silence is a void itself, isn't it? Silence and void.
Here he seems to be contrasting them. We can think that the supreme silence, for example, Mother has said, there are people, because we are children of Brahman, we can recover our original state. And people who have done that, who have done great yoga and tapasya, and reached the very borderline of the manifestation, they pass into a state which seems to them empty. But Mother says it's actually not really empty. It's actually packed full of truth and of potentiality, of possibility. But the consciousness rising from below experience it as empty. So I don't know whether that helps. We may experience it as empty or feel that it's empty, but actually it's full of possibilities. And she's the one who is manifesting all those possibilities. So to catch some of those possibilities, she turns this moving universe that we live in into a net to catch the conscious infinite. She has a secret knowledge. A knowledge is with her that conceals its steps. We don't see that knowledge that is there in the creative force. No? It looks like a silent, all-powerful ignorance. This manifestation seems to have just come into existence without consciousness, almost by chance. No? But it only seems like that. She has a might, a power within her that makes wonders true. Wonders, marvels, things that we can't believe in. The incredible is her stuff of common fact. If we look closely at the work of nature, the more we go into it, the more incredible are the things that the creative power seems to achieve. Leila.
Her purposes, her workings with those two. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. Even in our world, a mystery has reigned. Earth's cunning scream of trivial plainness hides. Her largest levels are of sorceries made. There, the enigma shows its splendid prison. There is no deep disguise or commonness. Occult, profound counsel experience. Marvel is ever new, miracle divine.
So here the poet is making a distinction between here and there. The way things are here, in our world, even here, a mystery has reigned, which this earth's cunning screen of trivial plainness hides. All these things look so ordinary to us. We're so used to them. Plastic chairs, what could be more trivial than plastic chairs? But even in these, a mystery has reigned. And her larger levels, like these higher realms, the subtle physical, the life worlds, her larger levels are of sorceries made, enchantments, all kinds of magic. There, in those larger levels, the enigma, the mystery, the riddle shows its splendid prism, all the colors of the rainbow. There, in those worlds, there isn't this deep disguise of commonness that we have in our world. All experience is occult, something hidden, deep. Marvel is ever new, miracle divine. Some of these marvels Sri Aurobindo has described in more detail in Canto 2 of Book 2, the world of subtle matter. So then it continues about those higher realms. Ganga Lakshmi, would you read?
Yes. There is a screen burden, a mysterious touch. There is a secrecy of the hidden sense. Although no earthly mask waits on her face, into herself she flies from her own side.
Let's pause and look at that. In that world, marvel is ever new, miracle divine, because things are hidden. There's a screened burden, a screened significance or meaning. Burden tends to mean a load. You have to carry something very heavy, a burden. But it can also mean a meaning, a significance. If somebody asks you to pass on a message to somebody else by speech, you may not pass it on in exactly the same words that he used, but you try to give the same meaning. The burden of what he meant, you want to pass on. And in a poem or a song, if there's some line or pair of lines that is repeated with every verse, we call that the burden. Perhaps it has some special significance in the meaning of the whole poem. So that's how the word is used here, that in those worlds, those higher realms, there's a hidden significance, or that's not obvious. And there's even a touch, a mysterious touch, a secrecy of hidden sense, of meaning and of experience. In those worlds, in those higher realms, no earthen mask weighs on her face. There isn't this covering of matter. But even there, although no earthen mask weighs on her face, even in the subtle worlds, she hides from herself. She flees from her own side. Perhaps it's part of the game of hide and seek.
Shraddhavan, I have a question about a mysterious touch. Mysterious touch. I have sometimes when I am not sleeping but stay quiet, I have feeling something touch me, or perfume, but in the physical, not now, but maybe 5 years when 𝒘𝐈𝐈 is there, in the physical level. Very strange. I have something, somebody touched me. It's strange, huh? But it was that mysterious touch, but it's incredible, subtle, very, very.
So we should expect these subtle touches, actually, no? Especially in those subtle worlds. Here we tend perhaps to dismiss them because they're not normal to our common material experience. But even here it happens. No? So then he speaks about all forms. Howard, would you read?
All forms are tokens of some veiled idea, whose covert purpose lurks from mind's pursuits, yet is a womb of sovereign consequence. There every thought and feeling is an act, and every act a symbol and a sign, and every symbol hides a living power.
Thank you. So, in those realms that she creates, all forms are tokens, signs or symbols of some veiled idea. It has a meaning, a significance. But that purpose is hidden, whose covert purpose lurks. It hides like a predator waiting to jump out and catch its prey. It's lurking so that the mind can't find it. But even though it's hiding its purpose, that veiled idea is going to give birth to something. It's a womb from which something will be born, something of sovereign consequence, of very great significance. There, in those realms, every thought and feeling is an act. It has some meaning. And every act is a symbol and a sign. And every symbol hides a living power. Would you read?
A universe she builds from truths and myths, but what she needed most she cannot build. all shown as a figure or copy of the truth, but the real wills from her as a mystic face.
Continue.
All else she finds there lacks eternity, or she is sought out but missed the infinite.
Yes. So she puts together this universe, not our material universe, but perhaps to an extent this is true also for the material universe, but her universe of the greater life. She builds that world out of truths and myths. With this word myth, we often mean something that we think is not true. We say, oh, it's just a myth. But in fact, most myths, most ancient symbolic stories, they have deep significances. So she's doing her best, but what she needed most, she cannot build. What she needed most is the truth, the real. Everything shown is a figure, an image or a copy of the truth. But what is really real, the underlying fundamental reality, hides itself from her, veils from her its mystic face. She finds everything else, but she can't build eternity. Eternity lacks, it is missing. She finds out everything, but misses the infinite. So this greater life, which may in many ways be very splendid and glorious, is limited and unsatisfactory. And Aswapati will spend many pages trying to find the way out of it, but not succeeding. So we'll stop there for today, but we can go back, if those who want to, can go back to the break on page 181, and we can read these lines together. These are her deeds in this huge world ignorance. Till the veil is lifted, till the night is dead, in light or dark she keeps her tireless search. Time is her road of endless pilgrimage. One mighty passion motives all her works. Her eternal lover is her action's cause. For him she leaped forth from the unseen vasts to move here in a stark, unconscious world. Its acts are her commerce with her hidden guest. His moods she takes for her heart's passionate molds. In beauty she treasures the sunlight of his smile. Ashamed of her rich cosmic poverty, she cajoles with her small gifts his mightiness. Holds with her scenes his looks' fidelity, and woos his large-eyed wandering thoughts to dwell in figures of her million-impulsed force. only to attract her veiled companion and keep him close to her breast in her world cloak, lest from her arms he turn to his formless peace, is her heart's business and her clinging care. Yet when he is most near, she feels him far, for contradiction is her nature's law. Although she is ever in him and he in her, as if unaware of the eternal tie, her will is to shut God into her works and keep him as her cherished prisoner, that never they may part again in time. A sumptuous chamber of the spirit's sleep at first she made, a deep interior room where he slumbers as if a forgotten guest. But now she turns to break the oblivious spell, awakes the sleeper on the sculptured couch. She finds again the presence in the form, and in the light that wakes with him recovers a meaning in the hurry and trudge of time. And through this mind that once obscured the soul passes a glint of unseen deity. Across a luminous dream of spirit space, she builds creation like a rainbow bridge between the original silence and the void. A net is made of the mobile universe. She weaves a snare for the conscious infinite. A knowledge is with her that conceals its steps and seems a mute, omnipotent ignorance. A might is with her that makes wonders true. The incredible is her stuff of common fact. Her purposes, her workings, riddles prove. Examined, they grow other than they were. Explained, they seem yet more inexplicable. Even in our world, a mystery has reigned. Earth's cunning screen of trivial plainness hides. Her larger levels are of sorceries made. There the enigma shows its splendid prism. There is no deep disguise of commonness. Occult, profound, comes all experience. Marvel is ever new, miracle divine. There is a screened burden, a mysterious touch. There is a secrecy of hidden sense. Although no earthen mask weighs on her face, into herself she flees from her own sight. All forms are tokens of some veiled idea whose covered purpose lurks from mind's pursuit, yet is a womb of sovereign consequence. There, every thought and feeling is an act, and every act a symbol and a sign, and every symbol hides a living power. A universe she builds from truths and myths. But what she needed most, she cannot build. All shown is a figure or copy of the truth, but the real veils from her its mystic face. All else she finds, there lacks eternity. All is sought out, but missed the infinite.